From Rochester, the home of FC3, Rock City Roller Derby, and Wind. Oh my god, the Wind. This is FC3 Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky. And since everything is geeky, if you love it enough, you never know what you're gonna get. Starring Tanya, Billy DeTore, and Chris Frank, and this is your host, Chris.
Greetings, Earthling.
Hi.
It was really breezy the day that she recorded that. I remember she was like complaining about the wind a lot.
Well, fortunately, her hair's short enough that the wind did not cause her hair to go into her face. But
that was hilarious. That's cute.
We had some wind issues through most of the spring.
Yes.
We had a lot of wind.
Oh, they had
this
to come
week has
back.
been the land of humidity, though.
They had to come back and put shingles back on our new roof because of the wind. But
welcome to Rochester, with the mini Chicago of the East Coast.
But yes, the humidity has been horrible.
Do people really like summer, or do they just
My
pretend?
husband loves it.
Oh,
It's
awful.
I have been in the basement playing World of Warcraft.
Good for you.
Because it's cool
Because
down
you're
there.
normal.
No, it's cool down there. So it's nice that the humidity broke today.
Yeah, I mean, today's been gorgeous. Today's a perfect day right now. But yeah, we've had some interesting weather lately. But I would prefer to deal with humidity and heat than snow.
Yes.
Nah, I'm taking snow.
You're going to take snow?
I'll take snow.
He likes Angie.
He's like Angie.
He's like Angie. Angie likes the snow.
See, the thing
I don't
is,
necessarily like the snow. I just like it better than the hot.
Well, there's that.
You know, a nice 75, no humidity, perfect.
I'll take anywhere from 50 to 75.
San Diego
I'll even
weather.
take 80 as long as there's no humidity.
Okay. All right.
San Diego weather without the earthquakes.
Yes.
Because they got rumbled this week.
7.1.
There was a 6.5 and then a 7.1. Back to back within a couple of days of each other. These poor people are moving and grooving over there.
I think I'll take snow over earthquakes.
I'll take snow for earthquakes as well.
Because I can stay inside.
But to all of our friends on the west coast of the United States, we're
Our
hoping you
thoughts are
all
with
stay
you.
safe. You know, if you had some damage, I hope it was light and easy to get past. I hope nobody got hurt. And we're hoping that this is the end of that nastiness over there. Although there's a couple of geologists over here in Rochester, because Channel 13 in their infinite wisdom immediately found somebody from the USGS so to get in there as quickly as possible to get some commentary, and they're like, well, I don't know, we haven't seen anything like this before. I see when experts say things like that, I start channeling Tommy Lee Jones movies.
I was just about to ask, does this mean Godzilla's rising?
I was just
there you
thinking
go.
Godzilla,
The Titans are surfacing.
the king of the monsters. Speaking of that,
yeah, it's
we're
got
going
a
to
nice
talk about
nice
that.
little segue. We're going to be talking about that in our long segment today. We're going to be chatting about the carnage that Hollywood box office has been experiencing in this summer of the 2019. Is it attributed to some sort of economical factor? Or are they out of ideas? Because this is something we've talked about in the past too. Or what could possibly be if anything, could be contributing to the fact that box office receipts are fairly down from what I'm hearing from reports.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about that in a little bit.
But first, we've got some events coming up.
We do, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But, as usual, you got in the studio, you got the magical, irrefutable, irrepressible, and unstoppable Billy DeTore.
Hi.
He doesn't feel good.
I know.
No,
but
He's feeling a lot better than he did.
Oh, last Sunday into Monday, somewhere along the line, I'm pretty sure I died. I'm back, but Monday, Tuesday, I was And
okay, you lost one of your lives, your 9 lives, in regards to the car accident.
Yeah, I had a car accident. I've been hit by a car. I've had vertigo.
So that's another one of your lives.
Yeah.
So now you had this down and out, feeling so sick, and your lovely wife, who wasn't feeling good, also made homemade chicken noodle soup for you guys.
And she's still sick. She's sicker than me right now. And
our thoughts are going with her, too. Do I need to make chicken soup for her? Or I'll just call my mom.
I actually have some homemade chicken soup in the refrigerator down the hall.
Nice.
During our break.
Tea, Susan, tea. Hot tea.
Tea is just like dirty water.
It depends on the tea.
Tea with lemon, whatever.
There's lots of good teas out there.
It helps the throat.
All right.
It does. Mm-hmm. And a hot, steamy shower, too.
Oh, I love showers.
Yeah. A hot, steamy shower.
I have to mow the lawn when I get home today.
Well,
it hasn't
mow
been
the
mowed
lawn
in
and then get a hot, steamy shower, because then you'll feel a little better. And then, are the Mets playing today?
They're not on the channel I get today, so.
I'm sorry.
So, no,
That's
I'll find
okay.
other
I've
things.
lost Channel 13 and Channel 8 in the last week.
So you're a direct TV?
I'm a direct TV type thing.
May I recommend what I did? Hulu Live.
I do have Hulu. I don't have Hulu Live.
Hulu Live, $45 a month, and it's basically everything you'll get on cable.
Wow.
And you don't need your cable or satellite dish anymore.
I put a digital antenna on mine. I got it on Amazon for $24, and all the local channels plus a bunch of extra digital channels that are in the area, being broadcast in the area, perfectly crystal clear. Loving it. And so I was able to flip Spectrum off. I'm doing that right now, flipping Spectrum off. Which way's Mount Hope Avenue? There it is. It's over there. So
so
do you know which way you are?
I have no idea where I'm going.
It's that way.
It's that way. Okay. Now I am flipping Spectrum off at this point.
Our bill went down about $120 to $150 a month.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I have my streaming services. I have CBS All Access. I got a Hulu and Netflix and whatnot. I'm actually borrowing my ex-wife's Netflix. She's letting me. It's all good. I got it in the divorce.
And you're borrowing my Hulu.
And I'm borrowing your Hulu. And then I gave you my CBS All Access. We're all switching back and forth. Didn't I?
No.
Well, okay, then I'll give it to you later.
We keep talking about it. We haven't gotten it yet.
Well, it's not like you really are probably like jonesing for it either.
Nah, me. Randy wants to watch Discovery.
Okay, well, we'll make that happen.
He's been trying it on the Fire Stick.
Okay. Not working out for him?
Yeah, well, who knows?
Okay. But, yeah, I'm down to basically just internet from Spectrum. And it's like $70 a month for just internet.
Unless it craps out on you.
Unless it craps out. Well, here's the like yesterday it crapped out on me because Juno bopped a toy under my desk, and she actually like found the plug that my router was plugged into, and accidentally unplugged it. So everything went south because of the puppy. Mm-hmm. So
animals do that.
They do. They get into everything.
And it's usually me having internet issues.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. But I never understood yours. You just weren't getting your internet.
I don't know. I tell you, I'm cursed. Or my house is cursed, or something is cursed because...
It's got to be a location issue, I would assume.
It's got to be. But all of our neighbors are fine. Every single one of our neighbors don't have any issues whatsoever. I do.
I blame Tyler.
Yeah, could be.
It's all the things it's like Sean says, stream it, don't download it.
Well, and it's funny because... Like, he's like, let me reset the Wi-Fi box. I'm like, it's not the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is working. And because the Wi-Fi, we could find it on all our systems, there was an internet issue. And I just had to go in and click. It was whatever day last week. I was getting ready to go somewhere. And
that's the unfortunate thing, though, is you have a teenager. He's not a teenager anymore, but you have a child at home who... automatically assumes the wrong thing and then jumps on fixing that wrong thing, and it creates more problems.
I'm like, leave it alone. So, no. And it's funny because in a matter of thing, I can open the router, I can see that all the Wi-Fi is working, but it's not connected to the internet. So I'm like, why is it not connected to the internet?
If you're an IT expert and you want to help Tanya, feel free to reach out to her because she'd love to pick your brain and figure out what's going on because her internet keeps dropping at home.
It'll just disconnect me for some unknown reason.
Mm-hmm.
You still have dial-up? Is it hanging up on you?
And it's really frustrating when I'm in the process of flying to Mechagon on World of Warcraft and all of a sudden nothing happens and it says it disconnects me. It's a little frustrating.
I can imagine.
Especially like you were on last night and your internet disconnected on you.
Yeah, well, like I said, that was my dog, not anything else. It was not a technical issue. It was a canine issue.
And I'm usually pretty good at problem solving all these things. It's like... The other day we had a...
Well, you've run out of things to problem solve. You fixed everything else.
Well, we were having a thunderstorm. What day was it? Friday?
I don't remember.
I think it was Friday.
Friday.
We had a brownout in the house. The power flickered, came off, came on, came off, and came on. And the TV, I had been watching Charmed on Netflix. TV had kicked off. Well, I was getting ready to take a shower and things like that, so I was going to listen to Pandora on my TV. The TV wouldn't turn on. Mm-hmm. So the remote worked. And the TV, the little red light is on, but it would not come on. So I could not figure out. So I'm like, crap, now do I have to buy a new TV? No. Yes. No, my good friend.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Yes.
It's a good, well, it's not necessarily a 55-inch whatever TV like DeTulio, like Tools has in his bedroom. Mine's only 31 or 32. But my good friend Google was able to
Mr. Google's the best.
Mr. Google was the best. Come to find out, if your TV won't power on, public service, a PSA for everyone.
Do this thing.
Unplug the TV from the power source. Then keep it unplugged for about 10 seconds or so, whatever. Hold your the power button on the TV in. Not on the remote, but on the TV for about 10 to 15 seconds. I think I did 20. then you let go of it, wait a couple minutes, plug the TV back in, it should turn back on. It's kind of doing like a hard reset of everything.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
That
not only
worked.
adorable, she's informative.
The
co-hostess with the mostest.
You're like the new Kim Commando.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Commando.
Is that Kim Possible?
Kim Possible?
No, Kim Commando had she had a radio show where she taught people about the internet and stuff. And
that's cool. I did not know that. That's
so
wonderful.
that I was
And she's
so
going
afraid.
commando too, so it works out really
Stop
well.
it! I was just saying earlier we talked about Billy's the one that always wants to strip off his clothes on here.
Podcast naked.
I'm really.
Who
So
says we
today I
haven't-
didn't even wait.
Oh boy!
Who says we haven't already? All right.
Enough.
So we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about more stuff.
Okay.
We're going to talk about our events.
That too.
Let's hear some comedy on our way out with comedian Jim Dore talking about
Going
the internet.
commando?
No, he's talking about the internet.
Internet's good because the internet solves all of our arguments, right? You can't argue thanks to the internet. Like I was at a party last week and friends were arguing about whether or not a certain movie had won an Academy Award or not. The argument went on forever, so finally I just go up to my buddy's computer and watch pornography, right? Problem solved.
I thought there was more to that.
Nope. I think that was a perfect amount. July 27th, 2019, from 10 o'clock until 6 o'clock p.m., we will be at the Grease Ridge Center Mall for MiniCon number 4.
Woohoo!
We'll be on our usual spot in the theater wing from 12 to 4. We'll be getting a chance to get autographs and take pictures with professional wrestler Dalton Castle, who's a local boy. Yes. And has made a big name for himself in the Ring of Honor Wrestling League Series, whatever group federation they are.
Exactly.
I don't understand wrestling. I'm going to ask Billy.
He's a champion at Ring of Honor.
Is he a heel or a face?
He is I don't know anymore.
He's a guy.
He was a heel. They go back and forth.
They go back and
yeah.
forth.
And
Those are the only two terms I know.
Yeah.
Here's what I know about him. In his picture,
Could
he
be
wears
a tweener.
purple. He could be a tweener.
Is he 12?
No, a tweener it goes back and forth between good guys and bad guys.
I see. Depending if the mood strikes him. So
Exactly.
he's chaotic neutral.
Yep.
There you go.
He's a Wexler?
He's a wrestler. Well, Evan was a wrestler, so yeah, it works out. And then later that evening, from 6 until 8, at the 585 Rockin' Burger Bar on Pixley, will be cosplay karaoke.
Woohoo!
Outdoors, and you can sign up
it's
on
beautiful.
our...
Nice,
oh, it's gorgeous.
huge
On the stage. So sign up on our website. Let us know what you wanted to sing, so the DJ will be ready for you. There will be a $5 cover.
Yes.
There will be a raffle.
Yes.
There will be prizes.
Yes, 50-50 raffle and raffle baskets. I know that there's at least a Firefly basket. There is...
We've got something pretty cool from...
Kind of, I think I'm going to be doing a Marvel basket.
Don't we have a Game of Thrones item?
Something along Game of Thrones.
You're going to have to pay attention to...
You have a dragon?
We have a dragon.
Ooh.
Yeah, dragon's egg at least. It's a really big chocolate egg. We sculpted it. No, I'm kidding.
No, just kidding. This is coming out after
Nerd
your
World News.
Nerd World
Yeah.
News announcement on
Yeah.
Monday. So
Yeah.
I guess we can we say it?
Go ahead.
Oh, we have an autographed script from Game of Thrones by Rose Leslie.
Yes, who played Ygritte,
Ygritte.
the wildling,
With
who
it-
married
Jon Snow.
Kit Harington,
Kit Harington.
who played Jon Snow, and they had an on-screen and off-screen romance going on.
Romance.
But
So-
yes, Rose Leslie's autographed script of Game of
With
Thrones.
a couple other little trinkets that are going in with that basket that are
Yes.
Game of Thrones related.
So that is part of our raffle.
And then there's going to be another one coming up on Nerd World News or
Mm-hmm.
some event announcement about another raffle item.
Yes.
But we don't currently have it in hand, so it's
Yeah,
kinda
when we
dun,
have
dun, dun.
when we have it in hand, we're going to talk about it. But right now, we're still up in the air, so we're not sure. But we have something.
It's in the mail.
We have another special item that could possibly be popping up, and we'll definitely do a special broadcast if we need to on that one.
Yes.
So this raffle is just not a hey, we'll get this is not a hey, get a piece of paper from a coloring book, or
could do that.
get a sticker. This is something big,
This collectible
collectible
item
stuff.
for
And
all our nerd
aficionados, our FC threeples.
Our FC threeples.
Yes. Which
Threeples.
people, I've been using that phrase for like 2 or 3 years now.
And people are just starting
Starting to catch on to it, and they like it. That's
Yeah.
cool. I like the fact that people like FC threeples. That makes me happy because it happened just kind of off the cuff. And I'm like, I remember even when I said it, I'm like, You'll have to come up with a better nickname. Nobody did. So.
And it's funny. It's like some of your best ideas just come
off the top of my head.
And
yeah,
you're just go with it.
When I'm flying with it, when I'm not trying is usually when I'm at my best. Use the force, Chris. That's basically it. So that's July 27th. Now, every Tuesday you can find us in the evening hours, usually from what, about 6 to 9?
6 to 9.
At the 585 Rockin' Burger Bar, again, on Pixley, over by Tinseltown Theaters. And those are our FC3 game nights, Mighty Monkey game nights. And so we'll be having those on a regular basis for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, the last one we're just going to do on July 8th is the kids' game night / Anne's birthday party that we're recording on
yesterday.
Sunday, but it's going to be held actually on the 9th.
Yeah.
So this is dropping on the 10th.
So as you're listening to this particular podcast, it was yesterday.
Hungover or whatever.
I'm not hungover. I'm
it's
fine.
The future.
It's the future. So
they'll have to lose our luggage ahead of time.
So you'll have to pay attention to our Facebook page because then we're going to put.
Let's wrap it up.
More events in there for the 585. So we don't have any listed yet.
Yes. And we'll work on that as we go. But, it's basically Tuesday nights, game nights, Pixley, 585 Rockin' Burger Bar. So we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, we are going to be talking about box office carnage. Does it exist? Is it a thing?
And it's the summer.
It's for the summertime. And then, what could be contributing to it. So we'll see what happens.
Game of Thrones.
One of the shows I do like now is Game of Thrones. I love everything I've seen of that show. It's a pretty awesome show. Don't understand what's happening in it at all. I just simply don't understand because they are British actors and they are whispering because that's what's in style now. The others shall come from across the river, where they shall charge. What is happening? Is it too much to ask for a British actor like Kenneth Branagh? Oh no, that's 20 years ago. Kenneth Branagh would enunciate. I stand in my uncle's house for vengeance. Thank you. That is a who, what, where.
That is so true.
That is.
I saw Kenneth Branagh in a trailer a couple days ago. He's going to be playing William Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah, I saw that trailer. I'm looking forward to that.
I saw a trailer with Benedict Cumberbatch playing Hamlet.
Did you know that Kenneth Branagh is actually in the MCU?
Let me think about this.
He directed Thor, the first Thor movie.
Oh, really?
He directed it. One of the most underrated movies in the MCU because I loved that movie. I thought it was fantastic.
And I finally made the connection that Happy Hogan has directed other movies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
John Favs? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, as they're talking, I saw a movie the other day.
He directed the first Iron Man.
And he was talking about the new Lion King live action movie because he's directing it.
Yeah.
And so when Sean and I were at the movies the other night talking about summer movies, I was like, isn't that Happy? And Sean's like, I don't know what you're talking about because he had his face buried in his phone.
Of course.
So sure enough, I opened up IMDb and whatever and opened up Avengers or Spider-Man or whatever. And I'm like, it is. And I finally made that connection. And because I don't usually put names and faces together because remember, I can't play 6 Degrees of Mark Shepard or Kevin Bacon or
Kevin Bacon.
Like that.
Or Walter Sausage, Kevin Bacon. I don't know.
Yeah.
John Eggs.
But talking about...
Now I'm hungry.
There's donut holes there.
Yeah, I know. I'm out through half of them already.
I know, so have I. So talking about summer movies.
Yeah.
You had come up with
I found an article, and it was written by a Rebecca Rubin and Brent Lang, and was on Variety.com. Summer box office meltdown, why the movie business is running scared. And the first paragraph is such. Heading into the new year, box office analysts were bullish that 2019 would beat or at least match the record-breaking success of last season. Follow-ups to Avengers, Secret Life of Pets, and Godzilla, combined with reboots of storied franchises such as Men in Black and Shaft, will elevate ticket sales to new heights. Theater owners and student executives predicted it. Alas, it was not meant to be. Now, sure, everybody and their brother showed up to Avengers Endgame.
Of course.
Twice, some cases 10 times. To bid goodbye to Iron Man. But many of those other sequels spidered out. They were derivative, they were shoddily constructed, poorly reviewed. Midway through the summer, things are looking decidedly bleak. ticket sales are pacing 7% behind last year's popcorn season, according to ComScore, putting the year as a whole nearly 10% below the same frame from 2018. So box offices and Hollywood's kind of taken a hit lately. Now, a lot of these movies, let's just be honest, have not been that great.
Right. So
go ahead.
Did they push it out too fast? Was it not necessarily a good story? Was it not a lot of action? What's the whole?
Well, I think with Men in
background?
Black, with Men in Black International, you had everybody's hype was based around Chris Hemsworth and
Tessa Thompson.
And they had great chemistry in the Thor movies they've done together. All right. And so you want to see this team up again. So people were kind of running their energy off of the MCU version of these two actors. And Men in Black has 3 decent movies in the bin. Although the first one was the best, the second one was the third one was fun.
Yeah. I was going to say, I saw the first one, and I think I've seen the second one, but I didn't see the third one because I'm usually not a necessarily...
The third one had Josh Brolin doing a dead-on impersonation of Tommy Lee Jones. I mean, it was dead on.
So I mean, this is one that I actually saw. I did see Men in Black International.
I didn't see it. What'd you think of it?
You know, I usually go into the movies and just check my brain at the door. It's a nice, relaxing Friday night type thing. I go with my friend Sean most of the time. And, I mean, I liked it overall because it was a different perspective in regards to the movie. Is it memorable? Probably not.
Okay.
But did I enjoy it? Yes. Would I give it a 10? Probably not. I'd probably give it a 7 on the enjoyment factor.
But was it enough to make you go, oh my God, that was really worth it?
Well, considering I only spent $8 on it total, so...
Well, no. Take that out of the equation, though. Go ahead, Billy.
Actually, I think that's a great part of the equation because I think one of the biggest problems nowadays with people going to the movies is the price.
The ticket
prices are extreme. Yes.
And the concession prices. And I don't think people can take a family of 4 or a couple or for more than one movie once a month.
And that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Whereas when I was in high school, me and my friends used to go 2-3 times a week to the movies.
Yeah.
And as far as just Men in Black in particular, I'm wondering if that's a case of a franchise running its course.
Which we'll get to, because franchise fatigue is a thing I wanted to talk about in a little bit.
But I think movies in general, I think price is a huge factor. Plus, there's a million other things to do and watch and see.
Especially over the summer.
We were talking about our streaming services. There's TV shows on Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and movies that are just as good, if not better, than what's at the theater.
Stranger Things season 3 just came out, and I have not seen season 2 yet, but I still
right now I'm watching season 3 of Jessica Jones, and it's fantastic.
Is it?
Yeah. So I'm happy watching that rather than I spent my money on Spider-Man, but now I'm thinking, well, Toy Story, I can wait till it shows up on Netflix
on video.
Or Disney Plus. Obviously, that's where it's going to be. But.
Right now, I like going to the movies.
I do too.
That's something that I did growing up, and I think I was more privileged in order to do it because I was an only child. So therefore, we were able to see the new releases, and my parents saw. But we also lived in a day where we had the drive-in. So they would show 2 movies or whatever at the drive-in for one price or whatever it was. So I can remember on a Friday night or Saturday night bundling up in the car and going to the drive-in. But I also remember going to the theater quite often with my parents, and it was a rainy day activity. It was usually something that we did on a rainy day when there was nothing else to be able to do.
There used to be neighborhood theaters, too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm older than you, but there was a theater literally
I grew up in the country.
Walking distance of my house on Thurston Road. It was a second-run theater, and there was one in Westgate Plaza that was relatively close to my house.
I know where 3 of them were in the city alone, like in the Lyle Avenue area. There was a couple. Like one was on Whitney, one on Murray. And those were, my grandfather would tell me about walking to the movie theater to see the serials.
Yep.
I love my mom dearly, but I'm going to throw her under the bus. We had to come into the city to watch a movie.
Here comes Robin. Toss Robin. Robin, you're getting tossed, honey.
And that was coming to the Lowe's in Marketplace Mall. The Lowe's Theater that used to be right next to where the new Field and Stream is.
Okay, it was out in the middle of the parking lot, right?
It was in the middle of the parking lot.
Yeah,
I
before
remember.
it went over. Whatever.
I remember when that was the new shiny theater.
Yeah, it
Yep.
was.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember being in high school going to that theater,
And then there was the Cine 8 in Greece, which became a Chuck E. Cheese.
Yep, and
This is how old I am.
and-
It was Cine 1, 2, 3, 4 when I was a kid.
I do remember that, actually.
and we went
And there-
to
go ahead.
Pittsford. Pittsford, not where it is now, but across the street. It had two. It had a standalone section in the back, and then across from what is it? Not Ponte Vino, but it's like right across from the Pittsford Plaza.
You know,
where
we
it
have
is
fans
now.
in Italy who have no chance in hell of connecting with what you're trying to talk about right now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Just
figure
saying.
out. But that was a couple theater up here, and then there was a standalone one theater in the back, which was the Pittsford movie theater.
There was the Westmar and Buffalo Road. It was just two theaters, and you go in and you had your choice of
This one or this one?
Yeah, this one or this one. And I think one of the problems, I used to love going to the movies, but nowadays part of the problem is technology, and that people still don't shut the F up.
Oh, I know. It's
They think they're
terrible.
home.
Yeah, they do. It's, going to the movies was a cultural thing back in the day. Nowadays, it's my thing, and you happen to be in the audience
It's
with
an
me.
extension of their house.
I'm noticing that. Like when I went to see Endgame.
So now it takes a special movie
Yeah.
to get me there too, because
Right.
I don't want to deal with people.
Right.
So I'm blaming people more than franchise fatigue.
The experience.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Franchise fatigue is probably one of them. 2, I think people are more apt to go to the movies when the weather's bad. Mm-hmm. Especially now we've had so much snow and things like that people want to get outside and do things. Mm-hmm. And they're going on family vacations. It's 4th of July week and things like that. So they're going to take a hit at the box office. Unless, as Billy said, unless you have
But Jaws
discretionary income.
Jaws was the first summer blockbuster that I remember being the one everybody had to go to. Mm-hmm. People always went to the movies in the summer, though.
I got a buddy of mine who lives in Long Island, my friend Bobby, who is my daughter's godfather. And he has a tradition now. Every 4th of July weekend, his whole thing is he starts posting movie quotes from Jaws. He starts talking. It's usually the quotes from the mayor trying to protect Amity, right? So it's always quotes from Jaws. Always, and I remember I can't remember exactly the quote it was on Friday, but he fired something off, and my response was, "You're going to need a bigger quote." It's
Oh, that's funny.
Instead of a bigger boat.
That's good.
Yeah, but that it's one of those iconic things. The beginning of summer, July 4th, blockbuster season. Jaws is always talked about. It's one of the original summer blockbusters, and of course, Bob's always going to remind me. So,
I still think that the price of movies is a huge factor.
Yeah.
Just because when I was a kid, there used to be room for people to go see the smaller comedies. Whether it's nowadays people will only spend money on the $100 million blockbuster,
right?
Not the mid
for the
level
experience
budget,
because the mid-level budgets are going to come out eventually on video, so we'll just watch it at home.
So whereas Groundhog Day or Caddyshack or just the comedies that were hits when I was a kid, aren't Weird Science or Breakfast Club or those type of movies don't get brought out and become huge hits anymore.
And I mean, I've seen Endgame. I've seen Men in Black International. I did see Toy Story 4 last week with my son Riker and my mother-in-law. And it was a cute movie. It really was. But it was something I probably could have waited myself. But he wanted to see it. And I'm like, okay, we'll try seeing it in the theater. And sometimes, like, families might choose not to go to the movies as a whole family because they know that their kids can't sit for the entire length of the movie.
When you're dropping $20 on 4 tickets and a couple of things at concession stands from the late 70s, early 80s, then you're not worried about the kid fidgeting so much. It's not that big of a loss. But when I took my 2 teenagers to Endgame, 3D, and we hit the concession stand before we hit the theater, and I dropped
looking at 60 plus
I dropped
bucks.
$85 for that adventure.
Yeah.
So I can price is a thing. Franchise fatigue is a thing. Streaming services are a thing. I think these are the 3 factors that are combining together. We're kind of seeing the early days of this transition that probably has been it's been coming down the pipe for a long time, but we're starting to see this transition to away from movie theater experience.
Plus, like there was it looked like a cute romantic comedy. I wanted to see it called Late Night with Mindy Kaling from The Office.
Yeah, no,
and it was out for a couple. It may still be out in some form or another, but because excuse me, my voice is going.
No, you're fine.
But because you'll only spend the money on the big budgets, you're not going to spend the $14 to go see Late Night, the romantic comedy, unless you're a couple and you're trying to bond with your new girlfriend or whatever. You're going to wait for that one to show up on cable or a streaming service. Yeah. And to me, that's a shame. But I'm guilty of it. I want to see it.
You want to see it?
But
you're now a movie like that, are you jonesing for it to be on the big screen, or are you happy to
see?
Wait
That's
for it?
the other thing nowadays. Everybody's looking for the big screen experience. Which is the superhero movies, the Men in Blacks, the whatever. Right now there's a movie coming out. Well, Quentin Tarantino's got a new movie coming out in a couple
Once
weeks.
Upon a Time in
and I'll
Hollywood.
be there opening weekend. Nothing's going to keep me away from Tarantino.
No, absolutely not.
There's there aren't that many Tarantinos out there. And after that, there's growing up dramedy about an Indian kid in Britain that loves Springsteen.
I saw that.
And
preview
because
and
I
I'm
love Springsteen,
I'm
I'm
like
in.
Billy's. Yeah, right. So
That
they're
spoke to me, but that's going to speak to me and 5 other people, and should probably be down at the little theater instead of in the big multiplex.
It's funny. I wanted to take price out of the equation from Tanya's anecdote, and then we made it a core of the entire conversation.
I think that's...
And it popped into my head. I remember a couple years ago when I was having my Gilmore Girls dinner with my mom. Every Tuesday at Mom's house we have dinner because there's a whole. If you ever watch Gilmore Girls, and you'll understand the reference. Anyway, my mom and I were talking about it. The kids were at the table, and we were talking about the movies we'd seen. And she goes, "Why don't you go to the theater and see real movies?" Which I bristle at, right? I bristle when she says things like that. But we got into this conversation, and I said, "Look, Mom, here's the long and the short of it." And it kind of goes hand in hand. I didn't even think of this until you were bringing the price up just a moment ago. But I said, if I'm going to be shelling out $60 to go see a movie at the movie theater, I want to see something blow up. I want it to be worth the visual.
You want the money on the screen.
Yeah.
You want the money you spent to be shown on the screen.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, because, we have these home theaters now. I mean, it used to be a luxury. People would have these home theaters and they would pat themselves on the shoulder for it. But now I have a 55-inch TV at home. I have decent sound system. I have a comfortable couch. And
Things
the
can
kids,
blow up in his living room.
The kids and I love being able to we'll binge stuff in our own living room and be happy about it. And we've watched some great movies. I watched Silver Linings Playbook at home. It's not a movie I probably would have spent the money to go out to the theater to see.
One movie I really was looking forward to getting to in the theater, and I didn't, was that Stan and Ollie.
Oh, right.
With John C. Reilly and Stephen Coogan playing Oliver and Hardy.
Right.
And it was at the Little for a couple weeks, and because it was around the holidays, I didn't get to it. And I caught up to it on DVD just this past week. I borrowed it from the library.
There you go.
Free from the library, my big TV. And once that was done, I got to throw in Laurel and Hardy into my DVD player and watch The Real Guys after that.
See, now I love you so much because of that. That's amazing. I love how you have this affinity for the classics. And that's when we say classics, it's not just any movie that was out in the 70s. You go way into the original.
I love Laurel and Hardy.
Movies made.
It made me sad that I didn't contribute to the theater intake of Stan and Ollie, and it was a wonderful movie.
That's true.
But because it only made the little theater for a couple weeks, and it didn't get to the big multiplexes for a couple months. That's where sometimes you'll catch stuff. Okay, I'm finally getting around to this.
Right.
Well, by the time I finally got around to it, I got to borrow it from the library. So
now it's funny because looking at this,
it's amazing. Looking at it new. Go ahead.
Looking at the different, the other side of the coin. My parents, they go to the movies quite often because that's like that's something that they go and do. But what helps for them is they're both retired.
Right.
So
they can go and avoid crowds.
However, they still get blocked out of certain movies because they couldn't get in because of whatever. But I'm just like, so yesterday, I'm just like, I saw him. I'm like, now what are you going to see? Because I happened to see where my parents were, and they're like, oh, we're going to go see Spider-Man today. I'm like, what haven't you seen yet? because they're like, we're running out of movies because they do go quite often, but they have that luxury to be able to do. They worked hard to get it, but but if my parents aren't golfing or doing something at home, whatever, they go to the movies because that's something that they enjoy doing. So it's just, I think part of it is a luxury, and if people have the time to do it, and for them, they get the senior citizen discount on their tickets, so it's a less cost for them at different times.
And I don't think it's franchise fatigue or case of sequelitis, because whether people admit it or not, there's always been that. It was just called something different. So it's part of the James Bond series. They didn't call them sequels. Okay. It was just the next James Bond movie. Even though it was the next Andy Hardy movie with Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland. You know, there was always, the next whatever.
But here's the thing is we do live in an era where
we want the story to continue.
We want the story to continue, but we're also getting more of the same. You know, if in certain cases you're seeing more growth of characters, more depth, because, with the Harry Potter sequence, it was, with Harry Potter, there was 7 stories to draw from, and it was this overall growth of this young man, this person and his adventures and what happened, and you see the trials and tribulations of this young man becoming an adult, and everything that happens to him in this entire sequence. Okay, and then there's Star Trek, and there's James Bond, where there are different adventures, and there's different takes on it. And there's different, different characters can shine. You have these ensemble casts, in Star Trek and in Star Wars and all these other things where anybody can kind of step to the lead at any given moment in time. That's great. But, horror movies, I think, are the biggest culprits of this. It's just more ways to kill the same person. Freddy the 10th and Jason, 20 Halloween movies and...
Michael Myers and
and then they're remaking movies that have already been made 2 or 3 times. I don't want to throw shade at Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga because they were brilliant. But A Star Is Born has already had 3 or 4 iterations ahead of time. Why do we need to see that story again? Why can't we do something differently with these talented people?
Some of it is Hollywood kind of remaking some of these movies from 20, 30, 40 years ago for the next generation?
Because the younger kids aren't going to go back and watch a movie from the 70s.
And they don't necessarily understand the context of the movie at that point.
Well, why not?
Things.
Well, I agree with you.
You made a valid point. They're not going to go back and watch something from the 70s, but why not? And I think that's a failing of not only the industry, but of our culture of always looking at
when I was a kid and when you were a kid, if there was an old Jerry Lewis movie on TV in the mid 70s, I'd watch a movie from the 40s and the 50s.
Yeah, me too.
That's how I got my appreciation of those things. But I think nowadays with the tech, I blame technology like an old person, but that's what keeps young kids from wanting to go back, is there's always other things to move them forward.
Oh, that's old. That's lame.
Yeah.
But thank God for like the Stranger Things series.
Yeah.
Because
to a degree,
it's throwing back to the 80s and coming back with all the things that were cool in the 80s and
But I think Stranger Things is doing something else as well, is it's telling a unique story from a unique perspective, which is good. I mean, we're not seeing the same tropes, the same things over and over again. We're not seeing, okay, here we go. Star Wars came out, and you had your first real, I mean, probably not the first real, but for me, in my generation, you see the old master and the new student, and the new student is going to become the overreaching hero. All right? And then how many movies came out trying to cash in on what became a trope? It became a trope. I mean, look at Ralph Macchio, for God's sake. That poor guy's career, he had
the Karate
Kid, but then he also had Crossroads, and he had a couple of other movies that were basically, he was the student that came out, that needed the teacher, and the teacher showed up.
Crossroads was a good movie.
It was a great movie. The good music.
Yeah.
Good music in it. And then finally, his career disappears.
And now he's back playing Daniel LaRusso
He's playing Daniel LaRusso again. But, but he did have my cousin Vinny, though, too.
Yeah.
And which
Two
was
Utes.
not... 2 Utes. What is a Ute? But anyway. But tropes, those are things that we've seen them so often again, and so we're like, Hollywood's so out of ideas. It's so out of ideas. Why are they sequeling this movie? Why are they sequeling that
but
movie?
I'm wondering if it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because of, again, technology. Nowadays, people on the internet can immediately go and Google any movie, see every review, every opinion from every schmuck across the country on this movie with Twitter, Facebook, Rotten Tomatoes.
Decide whether they want to see the movie or not based on somebody else's opinion.
Back in our days, we had our friends and Jack Garner's review in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Right.
And Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah. And that was it.
And other than that, we had, the poster for this movie makes it look funny.
Yep.
I'm in.
Yep.
I'm going.
That looks cool. Let's go see that.
So we didn't have, people almost sabotage the DC fans trying to sabotage Marvel. The Marvel
We're going to talk about that next
week.
I have a whole topic about the toxicity and sabotaging and things like that. That's my plan for next week's episode.
Cool.
So we'll definitely get into that because there's definitely something to be talked about there. But I guess I'm just kind of leaning on the thought that I fired off earlier in this conversation, where I think we're kind of at the beginning of this transition. In these past couple of years, we've started to see streaming services become more and more robust, more to the point where they're coming out with their own original stuff. Netflix was just, let me get you a DVD of the latest movies, and then let me stream the latest movies to you. Now we're producing our own stuff, and then Hulu's like, oh, we'll do the same, and Amazon's like, we'll do the same. So original material is out there, and they've pushed some boundaries on storytelling, which I think is very interesting. Okay, and so mainstream Hollywood, your movie theater Hollywood is trying to stick to the basics to let the streaming services tell the avant-garde crap, and here we're going to stick to the basics. So you'll keep coming back, and it's almost a misguided we're just assuming you're going to keep coming back time and time again to see all this cool stuff over and over again. Are
we going to get back to a 40s formula where movie theaters are going to have to show a cartoon and a serial and a prelim feature and a main feature, and all for a nickel, like my dad used to say?
I'd say we're almost there because of, I know on several occasions I've gone to the movies lately, if you go early enough, they've got their little ET newsreel going on, and then they have their little short spots about, this is behind the scenes of this movie that you're about to watch, and then there's a couple commercials.
With Maria Menounos.
Yeah. Who I'm not entirely thrilled with. I think she's kind of sterile, but anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
bland. That's the main.
Bland?
Yeah, she's popping kids out, so I can't say sterile. It's not nice.
Well, it says bells, whistles, red lights should all be going off right now, says Bach, going back to your article. Look at all these huge players switching gears towards streaming.
Yeah.
If that's not a sign of where we're going right now, I don't know what is. It says things are only going to get harder for theaters when there's more and more streaming content out there. So that's that. But Eric Handler, who is an analyst with MKM Partners, thinks that 2019 will have a robust third and fourth quarters, one that will leave ticket sales roughly flat with the previous year. So right now it's low, but they're predicting that as the year progresses, that the ticket sales will kind of even out to where it was. He thinks that 2020 will be a soft year and notes that many franchises are entering a transitional phase. Star Wars is wrapping up with the Skywalker clan saga with the Rise of Skywalker, and the Avengers have ushered out some of its most popular characters, and there's only so many time dinosaurs can escape from Jurassic Park. Yeah, I know. He goes, I don't see any mega hits coming out in 2020. True. It could be very challenging. But that's true. It's like Jeff Goldstein, the Warner Brothers president of domestic distribution, said movie-going isn't seasonal anymore. You have to look at the whole year. You can't just look at just summer or Christmas time. You're going to have to look at
coming
the
out
whole
all the time.
year. And springtime was usually the Marvel movie. So everyone's like, bam, whatever. And then everything usually after a Marvel movie is disappointment anyway. Yeah. Because Marvel brings us up and then...
Remember that from New Year's to end of February, actually through the spring, was always sort of a dumping ground of lousy movies.
Right.
And it was like the last ones to get in for the Oscars.
No, that was before Christmas.
Before Christmas, because you want to get all your stuff in before the
one
New
from
Year.
New Year's till March were just mostly crap until Deadpool showed up and made $1 bazillion.
Well, that was also, I think they planned it intentionally because there's many people who have talked about the fact that first couple of months of every calendar year is always that wasteland. So I think they dropped Deadpool in the middle of it just to kind of mess things up a little bit, to have some fun. because that's a very Deadpool kind of a thing to do.
Yeah.
You know,
Break the fourth wall.
yeah. So I'm going to ask you this question in a minute. Let me just get this thought out. I don't think that the movie theater experience will ever completely die out. I don't think that Tinseltown, the big dinosaur type places, the huge metro multiplexes are probably going to go the way of the dodo eventually, but you're still going to see movie houses because going to the movies is a social experience. And I think you lose something like, if I saw Endgame for the only time that I've seen it so far, if I saw it in my living room with my immediate family and a couple of friends, it would have been just as good, but to feel the energy of the people around you. When I started cheering and I started screaming and everybody and like 45 other people are yelling and screaming right along with me, there is a visceral feeling. There's an emotional connection there that you can taste.
And there being it's a communal experience.
Yes.
Being with a group of people all excited that they're there for the same reason you are.
Yep. And when you connect with people that they laugh at the same things you're laughing at, and they cheer at the same things you're cheering at, and you're like, oh, good, I'm not the only whack job out there. You know? So, in my opinion, I feel like I'm seeing the end of the movie theater experience as we know it. It's going to evolve into something much smaller, I think, over time. It's going to take decades to do it. But
like the Webster Theater now, it's way less seats because you have all the recliners now. But there's still, 12 screening rooms in there?
12 screening rooms, yeah.
So some days it's going to be 4 screening rooms with fewer seats.
Who knows?
6 screening rooms.
Right now there's 18 at Tinseltown plus, was it just
IMAX.
one IMAX
One
theater?
IMAX.
One IMAX theater.
Yeah.
So there's 19 screens at Tinseltown, and they range from a smaller type theater to bigger with more seating.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas one of my favorite theaters still is Grease Ridge Mall, because they haven't switched to the
Henrietta's the same way.
They haven't switched to the recliners yet. It's still the old style
bucket seats,
seats with go up the stairs and find your seat, and it's not reserved.
Right.
But people don't think of those theaters anymore. So when Endgame came out, and I decided that a couple days before, everything was sold out except for Grease. And Susan and I went, and it was by half full at 10 in the morning, and it was awesome.
There you go. Good stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all fits together. You know, I know we have our opinions, but it's time will tell. This is a time will tell type of situation.
Yeah, I think it's a case of the chicken and the egg. Is going to the movies more expensive because it's more expensive to make movies, or are movies getting more expensive to make, or do people only want to spend money on the more expensive movies?
That's a fair point.
And are some of the theaters' prices going up because they have switched over to the new
reclining seats?
Reclining seats, and so therefore they can only put so many people in. So in order for them to make their profits, business-wise, they have to charge a little bit more.
Well, I know $30 for a bag of M&Ms is a little bit much.
That's why
Who doesn't sneak in their own candies and soda?
I know, seriously.
Sean, well, we don't sneak in the soda, but we sneak in the candy.
During the winter, it's easier to sneak in soda because you're wearing a big coat.
Right.
But, during the summer, I need to buy a soda there. But candy's always coming in.
My ex-wife is a genius at that. She actually bought a purse
that's
specifically for
going to the
bringing the snacks into the movies.
Yeah.
She was an expert at it. She still is. And because whenever we knew we were going to be going out to the movies, we had to budget in 20 minutes to go to CVS or Rite Aid or something to pick up snacks on the way.
Big Lots.
Dollar Tree, where you can get stuff for $1.
Yeah.
As opposed
Walmart
to
has the
$6.20.
candy for 98 cents, the box candy.
All right. Well, like I said, time will tell. Stuff to keep an eye on, and we'll probably have this discussion again somewhere along the line. So what do you say we take a quick break and we'll go from there?
Okay.
So are we going to the movies later?
I'd love to. It's game day, though, unfortunately, so I have to try to avoid being killed by you.
And I made funeral
I just want to be one of those funny old people. That's what I want to be. One of those entertaining old people that drools on himself and yells stupid things out. I love those people. I love when I go to a movie and it's just me and a bunch of old people. And the whole time they're going, what did he say? What? Are you cold? What? Is something burning? Guy behind me the whole time going, like, spit it up. Die already. They're like, we get in for half price. That's because you only hear half the movie. I like when the old people walk out, they walk out like, this movie sucks. And they're still showing the previews.
That's good. I like that one. Who was that?
Orny Adams.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know Orny. So, as we've said on several occasions in the past, over 124 episodes, if you want to be part of the process, there's many ways to do that. We would love to have your support. One, obviously, is to listen to us, and by listening to us, spread the word. Share our podcast with a bunch of other people. Say, these guys are actually quite good. I would love it if even if it was a lie, just tell people we're very good. I would appreciate it. But if you wanted to get a little bit more involved, we have a Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/FC3ROC. Right now we're featuring a weekly video game blog by our buddy James Irish. Some short pieces of fiction are going to start popping up there in the next couple of weeks. You're going to start seeing more about our podcast coming up on that. And we have that. And then also there's just sponsor us. Sponsors at fc3roc.org is the email. If you have any questions about how to do that, we have several levels and we can customize a level for you.
And if there's a topic that you would like us to talk about, please drop Chris or Tanya or even Billy an email.
There's ways to find us. We're not hiding. So if you ever have any, hey, you guys should talk about this thing. And even if it's a topic we've talked about in the past, we'd be happy to bring it back up again.
We'd love to revisit things.
We do. We go back and we talk about things, and we come at it from different angles. And
Billy's going to sing again.
And this time we promise to put clothes on.
I think this time I'm going to have to go Bob Dylan.
Oh, Bob Dylan.
How many roads must a man walk down?
You got almost more Tom Waite voice going on right now.
Do I?
Yeah, it's more of a Tom Waite.
Yeah. On a downtown train.
There it is.
Johnny Cash?
Let's see. I hear the train a-rolling, coming around the bend.
Yeah. That's kind of.
It's definitely got a gravelly country voice working.
Yeah, I'm still sitting on Tom Waite for that one.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
If you listen to him, you like, this guy's interesting. He's very interesting.
Yeah.
Billy's going to look for some.
Yeah, let me go get some.
Go get some.
We can still talk while he's looking for some. My computer's not working today. It's like not responding, and
I think it's more of a PEBCAC situation than anything else.
Is it an ID10T error?
No, you're not at ID10T. It's more of a PEBCAC. It's problem exists between chair and computer. User error? I don't know.
It says Google Chrome not responding.
Well, maybe it's just mad at you. Did you try looking up something it didn't like?
Summer box office movie business downturn.
See, we've already talked it to death on that one. Doesn't want you to talk about it anymore.
The song called 055 that the Eagles did at one point. So let's fast forward into Mr. Waits' vocals. Slowly, feeling so holy, God knows I was feeling alive.
This is very melodic for Tom Waite.
Yeah, I was about to say it's the best he's ever sung.
My favorite Tom Waite moment is actually when he was acting, and he was that inventor in Mystery Men, the Ben Stiller superhero movie.
He was in Mystery Men?
He was the old man, the inventor who came up with all the non-lethal weapons.
Huh.
He was the inventor of the blame thrower.
The blame thrower?
Yes, the blame thrower and a bunch of other really great gadgets. They were hilarious. But yeah, that was an acting part for him. All right, so we have a question of the week. Hey, Billy.
Yes, sir.
What actor or actress are permanently typecast to you?
Let's see. It's funny. I've known the question for a couple days now, and then I forgot to think about it. So now I'm going to just come off the top of my head with permanently typecast. Probably, I can't say Sean Connery because he's had a wide and varied career.
Kind Kind of like a Sylvester Stallone type, or
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Arnold for sure. I saw him in the new term, like even as the governor of California.
Yeah.
he was called the Governator.
the Governor.
So I guess
Yeah.
that's typecasting.
I mean, with Arnold, he tried doing a couple of funny movies. He did Twins with Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Right? But he was still a tough guy in it.
And he like Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way, Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
It's
But-
not a tumor.
It's not a yeah, but he still has his bread and butter, Commando, Predator, all those
Terminator.
movies. Yeah, Terminator movies. That's a typecast thing.
And until The Rock has some funny stuff. He's a very talented guy, but he's still a huge professional wrestler. I guess
the Rock has done a lot of different movies, though. He's done the action movies, but he's also done the comedies.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I saw a preview for him for the new Jumanji movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just that sequel or reboot or whatever was just fun.
But he's still a guy that can kick everybody's ass.
true.
But he's
Until
just
until he does that dramatic role that you'd never expect him to.
Like a Jim Carrey moment with Truman Show.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's something. Well, Jim Carrey would also
Or
be
even like
typecast.
like Will Smith has done some really deep dramatic roles.
Yes.
So
Yeah, Pursuit of Happiness was a great movie.
And he's also
Exactly.
done some comedies, and he's now going to be in the voice actor for Spies in Disguise.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, I just saw that trailer too. Yeah.
It is kind of like a James Bond. It's a cartoon, James
Okay.
Bond.
And he
kinda
winds up
character.
turning into a bird?
a pigeon.
Yeah.
And Tom Holland is the actor that does the voice of the kid that turns him
Oh,
into
That'll make Juliana happy.
yes.
We'll go see the movie just on that alone.
So yeah, Tom Holland is one that's doing a couple voices in other movies.
Yeah. Although
So-
still not the British version. Not the British Tom Holland. He was still a like a regular American kid Tom Holland.
Always using like his Peter Parker voice.
Yeah.
Interesting. How about you, Tanya?
I'm going to have to go to my guy Samuel Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson.
He's pretty much typecast
He's
as
a
a bad mofo.
In every movie. I don't think there's any movie that is there. Are there many movies that he's
the
not?
the first movie I became familiar with him is Jungle Fever, the Spike Lee movie where he played Wesley Snipes' crackhead brother.
Okay, I did not know.
And
I
he
haven't
was
seen that movie.
phenomenal. He was like the
Dramatic
breakout
role.
star. Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, he became what
Typecast.
Tanya says.
Yeah.
But if you
Snakes
go
on a Plane-
if you
or
see
that was
Jungle
Wesley.
Fever, he is so good in that.
Okay, I'll have to watch that. I really should watch that movie. I haven't. It's not like I avoided it. It just never was in my radar.
Yeah. I've always been a Spike
a
Lee
couple.
fan, and I grew up in the ghetto. So
Okay. I was going to bring up Arnold and Sylvester, but Bruce Willis.
yeah,
Bruce Willis is kind of like you expect a certain kind of character from Bruce Willis. He's going to be he may be serious, he may be stern, but he's going to have the one-liner. There's going to be some sort of funny involved. The Sixth Sense was odd because he really was not Bruce Willis in it, right?
and I never got around to seeing Glass, which I wanted to see.
Glass was interesting. I saw the first half hour of it, and then it watched me for about 2 hours. So
Did you nap?
I might have. But I was trying to think of some female named.
Helena Bonham Carter.
There's been a couple of movies in her early part of her career
Right,
where she was actually playing normal people. But
See,
since then,
I'd like
she's-
to see Meryl Streep do a superhero movie
That would be phenomenal.
instead of the high class movies.
Yeah,
Or-
that would be phenomenal. Seeing Glenn Close in Guardians of the Galaxy was great.
It says that she's typecast as any eccentric female in a Tim Burton film.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Bellatrix Lestrange in the Harry Potter movies, you can't get any more unhinged than that character.
The other one, female, Jennifer Aniston. Bland
Right.
romantic comedy star.
Yeah. Drew Barrymore. Kind of is rom-com and comedy kind of a thing. Who else? Christina Applegate. Can you see her in a dramatic role? Can't see her.
Is that because maybe she doesn't have the acting chops to do?
Well, you got to wonder. I mean, why are these people pigeonholed into these particular parts? I mean, for some, maybe they are a one-trick pony. This is what you can expect out of them.
Yeah, I mean, because you saw Jennifer Aniston from Friends as like the blonde, kind of bimbo-ish type character.
the vapid,
Yeah, like-
materialistic one.
Although she was very funny. If you haven't seen We're the Millers, that movie is so funny.
I have not seen that one.
I recommend
As a matter
it
of fact,
as a good laugh-out-loud comedy.
This is very telling. I didn't watch the movie because she was in it. I didn't think it was going to be interesting. Oh, if it's Jennifer Aniston, then I'm probably not going to like the movie.
It's really funny.
Is it?
Yeah.
Who's Ed Helms?
No. Yes, and the kid from Saturday Night Live. I can't think of his name.
The blondish kid?
Jason something. We're the Millers. Let me Google.
Oh, that's not Ed Helms. It is Jason Sudeikis.
Yes, Jason Sudeikis.
That's the one. I get those. They look so similar to each other. I get them mixed
they
up.
They do. That's why I agreed you for a second. And then, Ed Helms is in it, though.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he's got a part in it.
That's hilarious.
I recommend We're the Millers if you want to see a funny. She plays a stripper. Who's trying to go undercover as a family woman.
Got it. I see. Interesting.
There's a drug deal involved, and
of course,
people disguising themselves. It's a really funny movie.
Jack Black. Can he be in a dramatic movie?
Good question. High Fidelity was his. Is it High Infidelity or High Fidelity?
High Fidelity. Yeah.
That's a good movie, but he was the comic relief in that.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Is he just the big fat bumbling guy?
Yeah. School of Rock.
Yeah.
What about Angelina Jolie?
She's been in a lot of interesting things, but I don't think I've ever seen her in a full-on comedy, though. Has she been? I mean, she's been in some dramatic parts, action.
Let's see what.
She's not. She's
tough sex pot. That's what she's typecast as.
Yeah, because what she is.
But then she's done the vulnerable thing very well, though. One of her early movies, Foxfire. Then there was Gia, where she plays the model who had the. That unfortunate meltdown.
It says whether she's the villain or the hero, she's always someone you'd expect not to cry or show any signs of weakness, but somehow she's a man magnet. She's often smarter than everyone around her and a physical machine, and she'll save the world in a crop top or a dress with a thigh-high slit.
That's true.
Can Tom Hanks be a bad guy?
The Lady Killers?
Yeah, but see, that one failed. It flopped.
It did, didn't it? You're right, though. Tom Hanks is a nice guy. He plays those earnest kind of characters that you just enjoy being around.
I mean, a wide variety of them, but they're always nice people. He's playing Mr. Rogers soon.
Yeah, well, soon, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Tom Hanks plays Mr. Rogers. That's not much of a stretch.
What about Keira Knightley?
Keira Knightley.
It says feisty period piece heroine.
Mm-hmm. Domino was interesting. That was a good movie. Star Wars.
Yeah, but she was behind the scenes it says there must be something about her face that makes directors want to put her back in time and often in a corset. But no matter what past era they send her back to, she frequently plays a woman that isn't typical to her period, and she's often a rebel, willing to fight and speak her mind, especially when she's not supposed to. Her characters also manage to be so full of pluck and spunk, despite being constrained by a floor-length ball gown and hoop skirt.
Let's throw her into a
I can't breathe.
Let's throw her into a sci-fi superhero movie and see what happens.
For the typecast of the future, will Jim Parsons be able to play anything other than a version of Sheldon in the future?
Probably not.
Oof, doubt it. I think he called it there. We'll see. I mean, the guy's got some musical chops. So I'm wondering if Jim Parsons would go back to the stage for a while and just kind of do Broadway and theater for a while, just kind of like wind down from Sheldon.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman somehow avoided being Wolverine.
And in many people's opinion, he's still Wolverine, but he still managed to pull off The Prestige and
The Greatest Showman.
on Earth and a variety of other things. Yeah. I mean, but I think he had the advantage where he had a lot of Broadway experience before he became Wolverine, so he's able to go to it often throughout the course of his time in the character. So we'll see. Patrick Stewart.
It said Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee was always that authoritative villain. You know, that very deep, rich, complex villain type person. But he's been the hero, too, in several of his movies. Same with Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing, most nerds will think Grand Moff Tarkin. Mm-hmm. But he was the hero in several occasions. He was the vampire hunter. But he was always that there was a clique. Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, Vincent Price, John Barrymore. They were all they were a team of these really amazing character actors. Anybody else coming to mind at the moment?
No, I think
Steve Buscemi is another one.
Steve Buscemi.
he's just a weirdo, though.
And they
Seriously.
typed it as the weirdo.
Yeah.
He was the one in Con Air. And,
Yeah, like when as soon as he shows up on screen, you kind of know what you're going to get.
Between Con Air and Armageddon. He plays that weird guy. He's freaky.
He's a little weirdo, but he's such a great guy.
Yeah.
He's just
He's
an amazing.
hysterical.
He's an amazing human being.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, he's just a great guy. But anyway, so
So if there's any that our listeners think are permanently typecast or whatever, drop us a line and let us know your thoughts on it.
tell us about Emma Watson, maybe Daniel Radcliffe. Are they ever going to escape their Harry Potter characters?
Now, is being typecast where you only wind up playing one type of person,
Yeah.
or where the general audience only thinks of you as one type of character?
Maybe
because,
a little bit of both.
Robert Pattinson, first thing people think of is Twilight.
Yeah.
But I hear he's been in a ton of stuff.
He's been in a ton of indie movies. The kid's got chops. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with Bruce Wayne. I think it's going to be an interesting thing.
It's like just
But
check
a lot
your
of people,
brain at the door and don't think too much into it.
Yeah, a lot of people can't see past Twilight because Twilight was so horrible.
Well, people are totally going nuts right now about the casting of Halle Bailey as Ariel.
We're going to talk more about that next week too, because that fits
just
into
ridiculous.
the next week's conversation. Next week's conversation is going to be we've danced around the issue.
Now we're diving head first into
We're going to
it?
dive feet first this
Feet
time.
first?
But
Yeah,
we're
I'd
going
like
to start
to
talking
protect
about
my
we're going to start talking about the toxicity in the nerd culture and this is why we can't have nice things kind of conversation.
Because Juno throws her toys on them.
Yes. So anyway, well, let's wrap it up for this week. This was fun, and this has been Monkey Business, a product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, purveyors and producers of the Flower City Comic-Con, coming at you in mini form July 27th at the Grease Ridge Center Mall. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Patreon, follow us wherever we go, and we will lead you to where the entertainment is.
It's usually right behind Chris.
It's right in my wake.
Right in smack dab in the middle of it.
We'll see y'all next week. Have a great one. Doom.